Welcome to Not Boring English. Today's story is about Winston Churchill, a leader who helped Britain through its darkest hours. And this lesson is for CEFR level B1-B2. If the speech is too fast, remember you can slow the video with playback speed settings. The voice that would not be quiet. The winter of 1940 was cold and gray in London. The city smelled of smoke and wet stone. Air raid sirens cut the quiet at night, and many windows were dark to hide lights from enemy aircraft. In the House of Commons, a man with a rough voice stood and spoke with fire. He did not smile. He wore a heavy coat and held a cigar. His name was Winston Churchill, and the words he spoke were full of truth and of hope. Winston had not always been a leader. As a boy, he had trouble at school and did not learn easily from books. He loved stories of soldiers and faraway places. He became a soldier and a writer before he became a politician. People knew him for his bright mind and for being brave, but they also thought he liked danger too much. In one moment of his life, many people turned away from him. He had made mistakes. He had lost a war plan at Gallipoli in the First World War, and that failure stayed with him. He lost power and waited many years before he could lead again. Still, Winston kept speaking. He used words to tell people what he believed. In the 1930s, he saw a danger on the rise in Europe. He spoke about a man who wanted more power and who built a strong army. Many politicians listened, but many did not want to hear. They thought war was impossible or too far away. They wanted to keep peace and to avoid fear. Winston's warnings were lonely words for a long time. People called him alarmist. He kept writing letters and giving speeches. He was like a watchman on a hill who could see smoke while others slept. When war finally came in 1939, voices changed. The country needed someone who would not hide from hard truth. In May 1940, the government changed, and Winston became prime minister. The news came quickly. Newspapers wrote his name in bold letters. He arrived at Downing Street with a clear idea. Britain must not give up. The country had few friends nearby, and the enemy had fast armies that moved like lightning. Many people felt fear. They were tired and hungry and worried about their children. Winston understood fear, but he chose to answer it with strong words. In steady action, he made speeches that were not only plans, but calls to the heart. He used clear sentences in strong images. He told people they must fight, that no one would give up their homes or their freedom. His voice was rough. His words were simple. He spoke in the House of Commons, on the radio, and in public parks. People listened because his words matched his actions. He went to the factories and met workers who made munitions. He walked through streets that still smelled of smoke after a bombing. He refused to stay in a safe place while others suffered. He wanted to show that no leader would escape danger that ordinary people faced. Life during the war was hard. Air raids came at night. Families slept in underground stations to be safe. Children were sent away from cities to the countryside. Food was small and careful, but people also helped each other. Neighbors shared what they had. Volunteers worked to rescue people from damaged buildings. Winston's words gave a rhythm to this effort. He said simple lines that people remembered. They repeated those words to one another when the lights went out. The lines became a promise, a way to keep steady feet on rough ground. Winston also made difficult decisions. He met with commanders and listened to many plans. Some choices were painful. He knew lives could be lost. He accepted this with sorrow, but he decided, based on the bigger need, to stop a dangerous enemy and to protect the future. He worked long hours and rarely smiled. Sometimes he wrote alone at night, planning strategies or writing letters to allies. He liked to read history and to learn from the past. He learned that courage is not only the absence of fear, but moving forward with fear in your chest. One cold night during the Blitz, a young woman stood at a broken window and watched the sky glow with fire. Her name was Mary. Her house had been hit by a bomb that afternoon. She had lost much, but she did not leave London. When Winston visited a nearby shelter, he spoke with many people like Mary. He put his hand on the shoulder of a boy who had lost his father. He told stories that made people cry but also smile. He thanked the volunteers and workers. He spoke to the crowd as if each person were his friend. Mary felt something change inside her. She had been tired of fear. Hearing Winston's calm and fierce voice made her feel she could help more, that she could do small things for others, and that she could go on. Across the ocean, allies listened too. Great leaders spoke with Winston. They planned how to stand together. Winston liked art and paintings, and he used pictures and maps to explain big ideas. He liked to call others by nicknames, and he used humor sometimes to ease a heavy room. Yet he was stubborn when needed. He argued strongly for plans that would protect the country. He would not accept easy lies or cheap promises. He wanted truth, even when the truth was hard. Months passed into years, and the war became a long story of small victories and heavy losses. There were nights of terrible noise and days of quiet sorrow, but a steady stream of people kept their work. Farmers grew food, engineers fixed machines, nurses healed the wounded. Slowly, the balance began to change. New ships and planes arrived from far places. Leaders met and made plans for a final push against the enemy. When the first bright news of a big victory came, people in London cried and hugged in the streets. Bells rang. Winston stood before the nation again. He did not say everything was perfect. He told people that the hard part was not over, but he allowed a moment of hope. He said thanks to everyone who had helped. People who had felt alone now felt they were part of a large team. Mary held her child close and thought of the nightly walks she had taken to help a neighbor. She felt proud of small acts that had become part of a larger courage. At the end of the war, when peace came back to the cities, people remembered both the smoke and the light. Winston's leadership had not been only about clever plans or history books. It was about speaking truth when others wanted to look away, about being present when danger was near, and about using words to give people reason to act. He had faults and had made mistakes, but he kept going. That steady will changed a moment that could have been full of despair into a story of survival. The lesson from Winston's story is clear in a simple way. Speaking the truth, standing beside others, and not giving up in hard times can change lives. Courage is not always loud or grand. Often it is the small, steady voice that keeps a city moving. People like Mary and many others lived not because one leader alone saved them, but because many people, led by a voice that would not be quiet, chose to act each day. Comprehension. Questions now. I will ask a few questions about the story to check your understanding. 1. What important action did Winston Churchill take when he became Prime Minister in 1940? 2. How did ordinary people like Mary respond to Churchill's leadership during the war? 3. What is the main lesson or moral of the story? Thanks for listening to this story on Not Boring English. I hope it helped your listening and vocabulary. Please write an answer to the questions in the comments and tell us which line you liked most. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories.